am totally committed to the Republican Party. I feel very honored to be the front runner, and I think I'll do very well if I'm chosen. If I'm so fortunate to be chosen, I think I'll do very well. Polls have come out recently say I would beat Hillary. I will do everything in my power to beat Hillary Clinton. I can promise you.
Well, so much for the threats from the mercurial Donald Trump to Bolton run as an independent. Of course, he reserves the right to change his mind, as we all do. Watching, taking notes, and probably shaking his head at times, Dr. Matthew Wilson, political scientist at Southern Methodist University. If you love one-liners, Donald Trump is your guy. If you want facts, if you want a firm grasp of the issues at hand, he may not be your guy.
No, he's high on entertainment value, low on policy substance. That's fine for a lot of people, and that has buoyed him in the polls. But it was really telling last night when he was asked about America's nuclear triad, referring to submarine-based, aircraft-based, and land-launched nuclear weapons. He had no idea what the question was about.
And a cleverly worded question to basically back him into that corner and make it obvious he had no idea what the question was about, without embarrassing him and appearing to be a mean question.
That's right. It was not an unfair question or a trick question in any way.
He's going to have his finger on the button if he's elected president.
Yeah, exactly. And so then Marco Rubio stepped into the breach and said, well, let me explain what this is really about. And there was quite a contrast there.
Right. It really showed which one of those two had commanded the situation. If liberal is a dirty word in Republican politics, moderate is pretty close to a dirty word as well. There was a little exchange between Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz of Texas over immigration. Here it is.
Does Ted Cruz rule out ever legalizing people that are in this country illegally now?
Senator Cruz?
I have never supported legalization.
Do you rule it out?
I have never supported legalization, and I do not intend to support legalization. And let me tell you how you do this. What you do is you enforce the law. Oh, I've laid out a very, very detailed.
Why were these two in particular going after each other? They both, I'm guessing, want to step into a presumed vacuum if Mr. Trump implodes.
Well, they really have become the two leading non-Trump candidates. They've risen to the top of the heap. I think they both see it as unlikely that Trump will actually be the nominee, which means that they're the next two most likely alternatives. And they both came up through the Tea Party activist ranks, but once they got to Washington, pursued somewhat different paths.
Right.
Cruz, very confrontational in Washington. Rubio, a little bit more accommodating, willing to make deals. Both of those postures have strengths and weaknesses when it comes to running a campaign.
Jeb Bush, interestingly, was probably as assertive as he has been. I found it kind of curious that he was pretty smooth in answering questions, but he struggled in his opening statement and his closing statement, which he's had months to rehearse, but much more assertive and much more willing to attack Donald Trump.
That's right. One of the real applause lines of the night, and one of the ones that was really memorable, was when he told Trump, you can't insult your way to the presidency. Right. And that sort of combative, feisty Jeb Bush is one that I think his advisors would have liked to have seen earlier in this campaign. Right.
It may be too little and it may be too late, but finally somebody willing to actually attack Donald Trump. Early on, he was getting a pass. Nobody wanted to attack him for fear that, A, he would jump out and be an independent, and B, he would insult you right back and with a better one-liner than you could come up with.
That's right. I would say from the standpoint of the whole Republican Party, maybe the most welcome news from last night was when Trump emphatically said, I don't want to run as a third-party candidate. I don't have an interest in that. I'm a Republican. I think that the chair of the RNC breathed a sigh of relief to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, nothing's ever final and permanent in politics, but that was a pretty strong statement.
9 people up on that main stage, and I don't know, 4 others over on the cocktail hour stage. Is it time to really start thinning this out a little bit? 9 people up there, and you just can't really get a sense of who is saying what.
Yes, they don't.
They were fighting for words. I haven't had a chance to say much tonight, you know?
Well, exactly, because there are so many candidates, it means that they're fighting to get a message out, fighting to get a word in edgewise, and it's becoming increasingly clear for some of these people that they're not going to be president. I would say that is likely true at this stage about John Kasich. It is likely true about Rand Paul. It is likely true about Carly Fiorina. It is even increasingly pretty true about Ben Carson. I mean, what you're talking about now is a field of plausible candidates that is Cruz, Rubio, Trump, maybe Jeb Bush, maybe Chris Christie.
Right.
That's probably it.
Yeah. Right, and that big crowd, not a big service to voters. Thanks so much. We
Exactly.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.